first met Sven in solo queue, not in person, but in solo queue. He said some really bad things about my mother. So I didn't like him that much, but then I ended up playing in a team with him, and he was pretty nice to me. I met him in real life, and he's pretty similar to how he is now. He's a really nice guy, really funny guy, and just kind of a troll. And I think in that regard, he hasn't changed that much, but he's matured a lot, and he's become a lot smarter about the game. I guess we've all become a lot smarter. He was just a really constantly aggressive player, but now I think he's really good at picking kind of when to be aggressive. And after I met him, I never really saw him as toxic or anything like that. I think it's just kind of what a lot of people do in European solo queue, being toxic. So
people were saying that he was a toxic player from before, so I was like, ugh, this EU toxic sort of stereotype of, the top EU players also happen to be the most toxic players. I didn't really know what to think about him, and to be honest, I kind of did expect some of that to carry over, the toxicity or whatever. But when I first started playing with him, I realized, wow, he's actually just a really caring person. I think everyone really enjoys playing with him. He's just such a positive teammate. I mean, he'll always find ways to subtly almost compliment people, and he'll reflect and remember things about people that make them feel really special. For me, example, he'll be like, oh, I remember this time that you used this term, and I think that's this specific term that you used really helped me understand this aspect of the game and help the team understand this aspect of the game. And it makes me feel wow, he really does care about me, and he really cares about the team, and he really just enjoys waking up and playing League with us every day. And he always does what he's asked. He's just a great person.
She's still mid there. My ultimate is really low. Come mid. Okay, mid.
They have a wall. Yeah, there's a wall. There's a wall. They can't come.
Oh my god!
Defend him. Defend him. Dude, what? I just want to defend you. What the hell? I want to save you. What?
Dennis, what the fuck was that?
So I think the first time when I started playing video games was on a PlayStation 1, where we're 4 kids at home. So I was usually just watching my big brother play, and my little brother was watching us play as well. So I was always trying to imitate what my big brother was doing, and he had a PlayStation 1, so we were always fighting in turns to play Crash Bandicoot, a racing car game or something like that. So I think that was when I first started, and then my big brother got a PC, and he was playing a lot of Red Alert, super old game, strategy game. So I was just watching him play that all day, and then when he was at school, sometimes I was allowed to play it myself. So I would sneak on his PC every time I could and just play it. And then later on he got Warcraft 3, and I just wanted to play it all the time. So when we got internet, it was a whole new world kind of to play on the Battle.net, and I was just playing a lot of Dota All-Stars, whatever it was called back then, and I got super addicted to Dota and would just stay at home, play it all the time. And then some friends recommended me to play League of Legends, and at first I was this looks like a kid game, I would rather play Dota, but I kind of got I tried it, and then I just was so addicted I couldn't stop playing it, and then here I am, I guess. The first real opportunity I got was when a team called Team Black invited me to play on MLG Summer Arena in New York. So that was my first tournament kind of I went to. It was pretty big because my parents were really against me playing before that, and I had to say no to offers from some teams before that because I wasn't allowed to, I just couldn't play anymore, and I had to go to school all the time. So that was eye-opening for my parents, and they gave me a gap year where I could try and just focus on gaming. And then I joined Copenhagen Wolves during that year, and luckily we made it to LCS. So my parents allowed me to follow what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I think the biggest difference when I came to America for the first time, being used to being in Europe and stuff like this, it was kind of that America kind of surprised me in how professional it was, because usually it's EU is better than NA. It's been a meme for 4 years or something. So I was kind of expecting like EU to have a lot stricter practice and stuff like this, but in America it's like a lot stricter actually. You like have to wake up super early, while in Europe it's like a lot of teams just wake up at 3 p.m. and it's like, oh whatever, I'll just play some scrims, not really take it that serious. But then in America it's like super serious, where you wake up at like 9 a.m. every day. So that was like the biggest difference. And then just like the obvious ones, like the weather is super nice here all the time, so you can always wear like shorts and a t-shirt. And you kind of need a car, or you just have to order food because the city is so big, I guess, so it's not really that many stores like close. So that's like the biggest ones, I think.
We decided that it's a balance between like what Kevin tries to do when he hears a missing call is he tries to execute as much as possible on the play and on the XP and on the CS and back out at the last possible moment to deny them both the roam and any pressure they get out of it. So like finding that line is and it is an imprecise science because you don't have a perfect vision of them. But if you use the information he shares and you think, what is the exact time where I can get the maximal benefit? You're always on the far side of that line in training, and you just want to make sure you're on this side of that line on stage, which should happen if you really amp up your testosterone, we talked about before.
Amp it up.
Good.
I think just always reminding everyone to have a plan and to always think about an objective or like be setting up a play, because sometimes we're a little bit slow in our first games.
What are we playing around? What are we playing around?
Yeah, pretty much that. Especially when a lane has a lead, we all sometimes don't immediately set up a play, but sometimes I do a good job of reminding people and sometimes I don't, so try to do that this game.
Stage, and we win, we have to do that. Alright? After our huddle?
Yeah, good job guys! 3, 2, 1.
You mean against CLG tomorrow?
No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Yes!
That's
That would be
Sylvia.
hilarious,
That's Sylvia, dude.
Are you shitting me?
I will come out there and do it with you.
It's
okay.
I saw this interview
We
where
can't
you
do
said
this,
trash
dude.
talk is dying, and it was really good for the scene.
But the dab is it's
That's
too ding.
trash
It's
talk.
too ding. We have to save
Hit
for playoffs. We
Darshan
have to save
with
for
the quick-
playoffs. We don't deserve to do the dab until we win playoffs.
Alright, good point, good point.
The dab.
The
Then it's really BM, because then it's a super hype game.
Yeah,
And then they'll feel even worse.
It means more.
You gotta do it here. Okay, yeah.
And to
More
them.
you. Alright. On the way to stage, I want you to visualize your play, and remember that when you play and you visualize your play, you're not visualizing your avatar, you're visualizing your hands manipulating the keyboard and the mouse, and then that moves your avatar. So make sure you visualize the muscles, okay? You guys are really... Alright.
This is getting really intimate.
TSM. 1, 2, 3.
TSM!
Yeah, like you say, two completely different stories. For TSM, because they're already undefeated and now they're up against an 0-8 team, this is an opportunity to show that they can stay focused and continue to improve regardless of their opposition. Now, to speak to their successes a little bit, they've been playing an incredibly high-pressure game, and that allows Sven Skaren to live in the enemy jungle. You can see there they control 67% of all buffs in their wins, which is 6% above the league average. Now with one teleport down, they try and TP into the bottom lane.
This may, no, Temper Fade actually is enough. That's going to be double it going down quickly. He's back up with the Chrono Shift, and they're onto Zig. Biofrog's actually able to get out of range with the stand beside me up, or I should say Unbreakable. And a double kill for Bjergsen after saying we haven't seen much from the mid lanes. It seems like Kyrian is getting chased out, and P1 tried to bite off more than they can chew. With just about a 10,000 gold lead, first game of the series going over to TSM.
We didn't really have any expectations, but I'm pretty sure people did have some underlying expectations, if we were being honest with ourselves. And when we got into the game, it was pretty shaky. We had a lot of unnecessary deaths, and it was only until like the mid to late game that we kind of figured it out, and we grouped up and we were able to take a couple of good team fights.
Actually feeling safe about it. They may be caught off guard by P1, but they're using quite a bit.
I'm super low though. LeBlanc flash then.
LeBlanc.
Ashes no flash. Okay.
Alright, Rex have flash.
Wait, you want to do dragon? We can just do dragon.
Yeah, let's do drag.
Okay.
They're going mid, Look.
Anna, careful, big Anna.
I'm not there. LeBlanc? I'm TPing in.
We're fighting.
I'm on the, okay. I'm going Ash.
Chasing this tree. I go.
I'm on Nar.
I have no flash.
Keep going. I have flash done in 2.
No, don't keep going. Push mid.
Go Baron?
No, don't Baron.
Let's take
just
Church. Yeah, let's take Church.
Points. Now they're on to the Nexus. TSM staying undefeated in the North American LCS. Summer split Gonna take a few more seconds. One last hit. 50 gold over to Haunser. And that'll be the game. TSM take down P1.
Yeah, much more decisive in this game too. And this win means that TSM has now beat every team in the North American LCS and is still undefeated. So very impressive first start for TSM, the best start in TSM history at 9-0. And now they have a legitimate chance and they're starting to think about maybe making a run for that perfect split.
Actually, we actually did run all the way from our tier 2 to their fucking Nexus. That was so funny. I just realized how stupid that must have looked.
We ran it down mid.
We ran it down mid for so long.
We kept getting kills.
You got to the Nexus and then it was like,
We got to the Nexus and then I was like, can we siege the Nexus
Can
first?
we end?
And then Peter was like,
Wait,
no.
this is 2v4.
I felt so good. I was like, damn, we're on a fucking roll right now.
Me and Vincent walk into our own jungle. They're just both doing our Gromp. We steal the Gromp and then chase them down. It's just like the most retarded. And the only reason we're able to kill them is because Vincent got the Gromp for level 3. You didn't have Tether, did you?
No, I didn't
You
have
only
tether.
got it-
I only
yeah.
got it after I got the level up.
when you think about how you played today and how the team played, we have a set with C9 this afternoon. What are you looking forward to training in this afternoon set that you want to like push on before tomorrow's game?
Just be more direct if there's something I need instead of saying we need to get vision. I'll just say, yeah, let's put down some fucking words right here. I'll just be more direct if there's something I don't feel like it's being done properly. Instead of addressing everyone, I'll just address who needs to be addressed, I guess.
I think I'll make a TF presentation for you guys where you click ult and then you use it again to teleport.
Holy shit. I was clicking like just above the minimap, right? Or I was clicking like somewhere around there, and then I clicked the minimap, and I was like, where am I fucking going? And then I think I was ulting like above the wolf pit or something.
Yeah.
It's so random. After having played all the teams, I think that we are the best team, but any team can catch up on us pretty much at any time. I think C9 and Immortals are really close to us, and even now they can easily take a best of 3 off of us just off of, you know, if they have a better draft or if they play better on that day. So that makes me feel good that we're not the best team by far, because then there's no reason for us to get complacent or get lazy, because these teams are working their asses off trying to catch up to us and trying to beat the best teams. So it's good having that constant motivation of having teams that are, I feel like, slightly below us, but trying their hardest to catch up.
Yeah, now that we've played every team, I don't think we're the clear best team in NA yet. Immortals took a break after MSI, and so when they first started off in the season, they were looking a little sloppy and shaky, but if you see their recent games, they're a lot cleaner in the way they execute and play the game. And so I definitely think Week 9, the game between us and Immortals, is going to be very close. The other super strong team is C9. They're also one of the teams that sort of rebuilt themselves during the break, and they've been cleaning up their play as well. So I do think C9 and Immortals are threats in NA, and I expect going into playoffs that will continue.
So when I first joined TSM, I would say I was pretty immature maybe in my playstyle, because like I said before, in Europe it's like a lot less strict, so you can kind of do whatever you want, and it's not really like you're forced to change your playstyle or stuff like this. It's just like when I got to America, I was kind of like still playing like I was in Europe, where I just didn't really respect any of the people I was playing against, so I would like kind of always get caught, but I would usually like draw a lot of resources from the enemy team, so they would have to like use like 2 or 3 people to kill me, right? And sometimes I would kill the enemy jungle as well, but then in America it's like I had to adapt a lot more to my team, and you could see that last split, like we just didn't really have the same playstyle. But then I guess when summer split started, we just, or like even spring split playoffs, then we just meshed a lot better together, and I think I changed my playstyle a lot more this season to being a more supportive jungler instead of like craving all the resources and wanting to carry the games. Then I can like sit back and let my team carry, because I have like players like Bjergsen and Doublelift, so I can respect them and can always like, they can always carry the games, so I don't really need to do much.
When I first started playing with them on TSM, he was like a really carry-oriented jungler. Like he always wanted to play carry junglers and try to carry the game. He was really good at Lee Sin and Elise, but he did not, for the life of him, want to play tank junglers like Rek'Sai or Gragas. And I think that's just because on his old team, SK, he was just like one of the main carries of the team, so he was used to doing that role. But when he joined TSM, we already have like really good carry players, so we don't really need a hard carry from jungler. We just need like a kind of supportive and just like a strong jungler in general. Yeah, at first it was just really different for us, and it was hard to like mesh as a team because everyone wanted to carry and wanted to be like the star of the team. But over time, I think it's gotten to the point where like we know where our roles are on the team, and we all play our roles accordingly. Sometimes he's a carry, sometimes he likes to play tanks, and everyone's the same. So we just kind of switch it on and off. But now he's more willing to play tanks and play for the team.
Playing against CLG, you know, there's a long history between TSM and CLG. And for me as like a newcomer, you know, I'm not really in this rivalry. I can still feel it because my teammates are trying extra hard. Like they want to win really badly, especially like double lift. I mean, actually not even just double lift, like everyone, because they played against them in the finals and they took a really heartbreaking loss. So now they're kind of out for blood, and that rivalry is like stronger than ever. Even though CLG didn't come off to like a great start this split, we still viewed them as a really strong team, and we pretty much put our best foot forward and tried our best.
And the next target is Darshan, sending everybody up here for him.
Oh no. That TP's down too, so he's got a long walk to wherever he goes. Xmithy tries to right the wrong and puts himself in a bad spot. Now TSM get 2 and top turret.
I'm clear ball.
I'm not there.
We can chase. I can go 10.
I'm not there.
There we go.
Nice.
I gotta see him.
Peter,
Nidalee.
Pretty sure? Okay, someone catch up.
Guys, reset in Baron.
Go Nash.
Reset in Baron.
I can team in Baron. You don't need reset.
You understand? Nice.
I see.
Go to zero.
I'm on Nidalee. I'm on Brom.
Oh, you're connected.
Just end. Just end. Nice.
Woo!
Good job, guys.
Nice.
Team solo mid. A sub 30-minute game to start off the rivalry in this best of 3, and TSM take down CLG in game 1.
Well, even in our wins, we make a lot of mistakes. So the first game, I was playing Sivir against Kalista, and Kevin was playing Aurelia versus Jax. I think these two side lanes are extremely volatile. We made a really big mistake early where Kevin died, and then I had to go cross map to cover for his lane. And I ended up being down like 30 CS. So I think in terms of our post game, we usually just identify, okay, what were the biggest mistakes? Why did they happen? And like, what should we do to make sure they don't happen again? And even in like extremely one-sided games such as that one, I think it was like a 24-25 minute win. We made a lot of mistakes, and the next time we play CLG, if we make the same mistakes, we're probably gonna lose. So we focus more on what we're doing wrong rather than like what the level that our opponent is playing at that weekend.
CLG doesn't look like they can get away on this one. Bjergsen's gonna have Xmithy, and he may actually go for Darshan. Doesn't really have the slow necessary. Yes, they do. They're gonna get back onto it. Darshan goes down. They even throwing out for the homies as Fence Karen throws down the cast.
This is a secondary. They've already gotten the first one. Oh, Afro's dying!
He almost didn't get to ult. You have to remember as well the change to that ult makes him a bit squishier. 1-for-1 now as Bjergsen goes down, but there's still DPS returning for TSM, and they're able to clean up CLG kills as Fence Karen falls as well. Xmithy and Alframu have fallen with who he one last hit. Haunter looking to get over the wall. That Iceborne Gauntlet giving him just enough room. Haunter gets bopped, but it's going to be a trade in kills. That's Darshan going down as well. TSM are going to stay undefeated in the North American LCS as they take down Counter Logic Gaming.
What an impressive series from TSM. Double Lift getting them hyped as well.
So elated. And they have to be happy.
I thought our CLG game was actually relatively close. I think when two top teams play, there's a tug of war between every lane and the shot callers to figure out like what the very best play is. And from a spectator position, I can understand that people who watch that game are like, damn, TSM stomped CLG. And even watching the games back ourselves, we're like, wow, we played really, we played pretty well. And the games didn't seem very close. But in reality, it's just those 1 or 2 split-second decisions, those 1 or 2 team fights that could have changed the entire series. So just like with the knowledge of that and kind of like on the back end, because we were a part of the win, it doesn't feel nearly as one-sided as everyone makes it out to be. You have to put in a lot of work and a lot of effort to get to that point, like where you're snowballed extremely hard, like 8 or 10k gold ahead, and then closing out becomes easy. But the games themselves weren't easy.
I think something that I'm really proud of the team and something that we do really well is that we kind of have a play style that works regardless of what kind of comps or whatever champions we're playing, and then we fit in those champions and we kind of play more specifically to those champions. But I feel like the base play style and our like ground rules and our basics, we can play out any kind of comp in any kind of game, and I'm still really confident in our ability. Whereas in the previous seasons, TSM would only be able to play on our mid, or like for a while around MSI, we always played around bot, and it felt like we always had this like certain play style that we kind of had to pick to. But now in the team, everyone feels confident in themselves that they can play any kind of style, and the team knows how to play these different styles. So I feel really confident regardless of whichever comp or whichever champions that we're going to play, or even whichever meta that we're going to get into, that we'll do well and be a strong team.